All right. I want to start this particular session by apologizing to all of you guys because we are late by a good 10 minutes. But I hope that the next 1 hour that you are with us is going to be value adding in your life. And we are doing this particular session lead up to the World Mental Health Day, which is celebrated on the October 10th. We didn't wait till that long, and we found amazing people who you can see in front of me today who are going to talk more about this much less talked about word, which is mental health and well-being. Well, mental wealth also in a way, because that's probably the biggest wealth that you can have and acquire and sustain in your life to achieve all the goals. And as you might just see, the title of this particular webinar, that is the pursuit of your career, making you more anxious, affecting your mental health, and making you an individual that you don't want to become. So what are we going to do in the next 60 minutes? We are going to look at mental health from different aspects and angles. And that's why we have people coming in from different age groups and people who work in different kind of setups within the realm of mental health. We have Manoj Chandran with me, who is going to give you an insight about what he has done in his life and how he got connected to mental health in his life. We have Arushi Sethi, who is a known face when we talk about mental health and how she got associated with it. And we have Keshav. Uh, Keshav probably is a hit around the community right now because he has come up and shared his journey, his story about uh, a job that never happened to him and what led to his life after that. So, welcome all of you. As I mentioned, we are going to dive deeper into various aspects, and I hope that people from different backgrounds, from different age groups who are listening to this particular conversation will find it useful. Thank you very much once again, guys, and I hope that uh, it is a fruitful session for all of us. I will start the session by introducing you guys, and I'll let you guys do it. Manoj, if we can start with you, a brief introduction.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, InsideIIM, for conducting and holding this webinar. It's such an opportune time and important topic to be discussed, and pleasure joining. I'm Manoj Chandran, and I wear two hats. I am the founding CEO of an organization called White Swan Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organization in the space of mental health. I am also leading the marketing function and product development function at an organization called Mana, the logo of which you can see behind me. And Mana is into workplace mental health and something that I'm very passionate about. And so this is my brief introduction. And it's been now 10 years since I've been in the space of mental health. Thank you.
Great. Keshav, if we can go next.
Yeah. So firstly, thank you so much, Paul, for this opportunity. I'm actually really glad that I'll be talking to you guys and everyone will be knowing what happened behind the scenes and how I actually felt. And yeah, so those people who don't know me, I'm Keshav Grover. I'm a recent graduate from IIM Jammu. I passed from this year only. And I have a YouTube channel also. So yeah.
Okay. Keshav has an interesting story and we'll talk more about that. But before that, Arushi, brief introduction from your side.
Hello. Good afternoon. And to everybody watching us here today, I want to start with asking you all a question, which is, how are you feeling? So think of the one word you're feeling while I do my brief introduction. I'm Arushi Sethi, the founder and CEO to Trijog Know Your Mind, which is at the moment India's #1 organization for mental health care and well-being. I have been representing the space of mental health care for the last almost a decade now. It has been 8 years in this field. We have brought to India a lot of structure in the realm of mental health care, a lot of quality in this light. So Trijog looks after institutional mental health care, corporate, which is workplace mental health care, just like Manoj was saying, and individual mental health care. Today, we also represent, as today I represent India on a global map as a national and international voice and face for mental health. So thank you so much, Inside IIM. The youth does remain my favorite target audience to always speak to. So I'm very, very happy that we're doing this, and I'm very happy to be here.
This is the first thing that Arushi came and told us when we actually met her, that youth excites her, and anything related to youth, she is up for it. And thank you very much, Arushi, for joining us today. And I'll start the first question with you itself. Why do you think we need awareness about mental health more now than ever? How did you deal with mental health when you were growing up? Was it as difficult as you see today? Because we talk about technology, we talk about digital, we were talking about technology just a while ago, and you were saying that a lot of core knowledge or information is getting missed by the generation, right? And the over dependence is kind of killing it. So, where do you think we are right now, and where should we be?
So, if we don't talk about it now, then when? And if we don't talk about it, then who? Right? There will never be a right or wrong time to want to invest into yourself. And if you can start it from today, then you're just going to have an even more fantastic tomorrow. I feel like we have come a decade in front when it comes to mental health care and awareness. A decade back, organizations like Trijog, Manha, all of us didn't exist so prolifically, so substantially to be able to give the quality of care that we are giving right now. Awareness has really increased, I would like to say. Of course, we have rungs to go, but we're much better than where we were. Today, look at us. We at IIM are having this conversation, which is a reality of change in itself. So I feel like the awareness is growing. I feel like mental health in general, right? Why is it coming to the forefront so much? Because post the pandemic, a lot of us started understanding about the intrinsic factors that were causing stress to us and the extrinsic factors that will always be there that will cause stress to a person. So your mental health comes about with the pressure that you feel from all of the thoughts and feelings and emotions that are going on inside you, which could be coming from the attention that you are giving the factors that exist outside you. Now let's understand that intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors are always going to be there. How are you going to take care of your own mental health? How have I done it all along? I've been blessed to be born to Arushi Sethi, who happens to be a very renowned psychologist in India, serving us for almost 4 decades. It was under her care that I realized, and that's why we built Trijog so that this safety could reach everybody, that there are 5 things that really helped me. Number 1, communication. You need to communicate about what you are feeling to find an avenue for transformation. Number 2, support systems. Identify who is that support system for you. We need to do that or else create the support system. Number 3, therapy. The reason I am here today is because of the tool of therapy. I have been using therapy since 2015 after a life and death incident myself, which made me realize my anxiety could be the end of me, or I could see death in the face and say, this, my anxiety will become the torchbearer for millions to elevate their anxiety. So therapy, it will show you your inner you. And you know what? Therapy is not something which is a problem solution constant that, hey, when you're feeling low, go to therapy. No, if you want to understand more about your mind and how you can work better, seek therapy. So I have taken therapy all along. Number 1, to overcome my life and death experience, PTSD, anxiety. Number 2, to be able to lay a foundation and lead a foundation. And I continue to take therapy today because when you lead over 200 people, you need to be so mentally fit. You need to have that mental wealth. In life, in your relationships, in my growing years, all of the phases that I've come into, therapy is my best friend, and I hope it becomes yours. 4, self-awareness. Please, I've done a lot of self-awareness. And it has been a continual journey in the last 16 years of avid self-awareness that really contributes to understanding about your own mental health. And 5thly, Meditation has been the largest gift into my life because when you go inwards, you begin your real self healing journey. And meditation has helped me ground myself and also invited all the clarity that one needs to face everything happening in this world outside. So, yeah, that's from me.
Very quickly, Arushi, which is that segment, the audience segment or the population segment that finds it the most difficult to talk about mental well-being or mental health in India? And why do you think that happens?
So, I think there are two segments: the youth and the middle-aged workplace population are the most affected. Middle-aged workplace population, because a lot of your job alignment also lies on the way you're feeling. So a lot of people fear their job status if they do open up. Uh, in the middle-aged working population, a lot of people also fear being understood by their support systems if they do open up, but there is being a shift in that. When it comes to the youth, why are they fearful to speak about it? Because of comparative analysis when it comes into being labeled, bullied, self-identity, self-worth. So these are the kind of challenges, and these are the two populations that we feel are most affected right now when it comes to
I
mental
asked
health
you
care.
actually this question right ways because we got one comment which said that mental health is a joke in India right now. As soon as you prioritize it over some other guy, will take your place.
And
The
we
other
saw
guy,
it.
right?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the kind of thing that you said in your answer. And that's probably the reality that needs that the companies also or the corporates also need to understand and reflect and understand that probably that we're not opening up. Uh, Moving on, Manoj, I'll come to you. You talked about White Swan Foundation. You essentially are not a mental health professional. You had nothing to do with it when you started working. So let's talk about when exactly did that turning point come in your life, and when did you think that you need to talk about it?
Sure, Paul. Yeah, thank you. I'm a little bit of a drifter in that sense from a career perspective. If I look at it, I started as a journalist. In fact, my academics has been in masters in physics and microelectronics. But when I finished my corporate life, I said I'm not going to go into another organization and join an NGO, which helped me understand the whole workings of the impact sector. And as I was working there, I went back to my mentor, Subrata Bakshi, who was the founder of Mindtree IT company, and told him that I'm ready to do something on my own. And he then suggested that we're going to look at mental health. And this is way back in 2012, 13. And when people were not talking about mental health. And then I said, okay, let me go do some research. And for the next 6 months, I was talking to all possible stakeholders in the mental health care ecosystem, from the one who's experienced problems to caregivers to psychiatrists and others. And, it really helped to my advantage that I was not a mental health professional to be able to understand and, break down the challenges. Because when I spoke to people and then I just tried to understand what were the big challenges and hurdles in the mental health care system, typically what came out in 2013 is we don't have enough psychiatrists. We don't have a good mental health care service infrastructure. Hospitals are not there. Medicines are not there. Psychologists are not there at all. And there were numbers like 4,000 psychologists for the entire country kind of things. And that was what was thrown to me. But when I spoke with people, particularly caregivers, Paul, it was a different story. And what really, when I synthesized those inputs for me, I understood that the most fundamental challenge in mental health care is our inability to make right decisions. And that's the single most important thing. The moment I think I have a problem, or the moment I have somebody in my family who has a problem, the first thing that happens is confusion. We don't know what to do. We just don't have the ability to make right decisions. Right. And then I said that, why is it so? And that is because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We just don't know. And then what is this about? Which is about lack of access to right knowledge. And there, the problem really came out to me in a stark kind of way. and said that this is what needs to be handled. Can I create content? Can I build a knowledge repository which is something people relate to? And then they pick up the right knowledge, and then they will be able to make decisions. They are empowered with the knowledge to make right decisions. If they are a person with problems, they are caregivers, a bystander, or anyone else. And that's how White Swan Foundation was born, and my journey started. But having said that, I was a drifter. I must tell you that across my entire career, about 3 decades, it's the knowledge creation that has been the common thread. It has always fascinated me about creating and delivering content so that I bring in a mindset shift among my audience. And so that fascinated me and said, that's very good. And I'm going to do that. And with the support of Shubhrata again, I set up White Swan Foundation and ran it to making it, creating one of the largest knowledge repositories on mental health care in this part of the world, which gets more than 1 million unique users even today, every year.
Right. Manoj, I understand that you're not a clinical psychologist or you don't have that background, but over the years, what have you seen? What are generally some of the triggers that one should be aware of when they know for a fact that they need help, right? Because you're creating content, you must have had a lot of conversations with people who are working actively in this particular field and have met people also who are suffering from one or the other mental well-being issues, right? So what, in your opinion, are these triggers that we need to be aware of, whether we are talking about a young adult or a middle-aged human being or somebody who is just, who's just going to give the biggest exam of their life?
Correct. Good point, Paul. So from triggers, from what I understand you mean is the signs and symptoms.
Yeah.
Right. And so there is a psychologist's answer to it, and there is a layman answer to it. And if you want to get the psychologist's answer, I would love Arushi to tell you that.
The psychologists, we
let me tell you the layman, because this is why I'm in this field, because I just love the fact that we're talking to the person who doesn't have the access and the resources, and then we have to tell them that do this. So when it comes to identifying signs or symptoms, we just have to look at the way we have handled our physical health. It's no different. Actually, there's no difference between physical health or mental health. We don't have to. It's just that we have built a whole different way, beliefs and notions around mental health, which govern our decisions on mental health, that we don't see these as together, this physical health and mental health. What happens if I get fever? What happens if I get headache? I think I know exactly what is the path I have to take. Okay, I cope with it, I handle that, I do something by myself. And if it doesn't go, I know what to do. Then I go to somebody who knows about it. If it still doesn't go, I know I have to go to a professional and get it addressed, because I cannot handle pain. Why is it that we just don't take the same route in mental health care? If there is a certain emotion, a certain kind of mood, certain kind of other aspects of our behavior, which is impacting us in certain way, in a very light manner. Let's say I get momentarily angry at the person who just crossed me from the left side. Now that's a sudden shock kind of a thing in my behavior. And the moment it happens, I know that I can jump out of it because I have to reach somewhere. I'm aware of it and I'm able to come out of it. And this is like the headache thing. I can handle it. I handle it by myself by doing something. But if it stays with me, if that person having crossed from the left side has stayed with me throughout my commute to the office, and then it is affecting my work for the day, I must become aware of that. I have to begin to think that, man, why is it not going away from my mind? It's okay that was just a random person having crossed on the wrong side. I don't want it to affect my delivery, my presentation. If it is hampering, and if it stays with us for a longer period of time, typically psychologists will tell us that if it stays with us for more than 2 weeks, any such instance or impact on our behavior, our emotion, our mood, then it's time that we seek professional help.
Right.
But between the fact that I realize I have a problem to the fact that I have to reach out, the decision that I'll reach out to a professional, is the journey that we must speak about. Is that journey that we must actually tell the world that we must reduce. In the case of physiological health, it doesn't take much time for me to reach out and call a doctor if I have a problem. But Typically, in a mental health scenario, it takes years to travel this journey. It takes years for us. I mean, I always take this example of Michael Phelps, one of the most celebrated swimmers in the world. He tells about his experience of depression, that it took 5 years for him with all the access that he had to resources and ecosystem. It took 5 years for him to tell himself that, I think I can't handle it. I need a professional help here. So look at it. How do you reduce it? How do you help someone you love to reduce this time frame is what we have to look at.
If you're
May I add something here, please?
sure, go ahead.
So, Manoj, I think so beautifully you said, right, that we've all gone to general physicians. Yesterday, the same question we asked, large room. It's like, how many of us have gone to a doctor here? And the whole room very proudly put up their hand. So I said, great, then we've tried it, right? Then how many of us have gone for therapy? And in an audience room full of 250 people, maybe 5 people had the courage to raise their hand. So for all of the people watching us here today, if you don't try something, how will you know its value or worth? You've tried going to a doctor, try going to a therapist to seek knowledge for yourself, So yeah, that's just something I wanted to add to what Manoj was saying.
Sure. Manoj, it took 5 years for Phelps to actually admit that he was going through something, but it took immense amount of courage for probably at that point in time world number one Naomi Osaka to actually tell the world that she was going through something, that she can't continue playing at the prime of her career, and she wanted that break and rest. And that's something that probably we have to also tell people and hammer the fact in their heads that it's okay to take a break, it's okay to take rest, it's okay to step back from the kind of race that you have been told that you have to run. And that's where I think a lot of awareness is also needed.
So if I may add to that, Paul, you brilliantly pointed it out, actually. And so what happens is, we believe, so if you ask a common man on the street, do you know anything about cardiovascular disease? Chances are they'll say that I don't know much. I know that it is about this part of the body. But if you ask them about mental health, chances are across all kinds of strata in the society, they'll say, I think I know what pagalpan is. I know.
Yeah.
We think we know, but we never question that thing that we know. And this whole knowledge, that so-called knowledge that we carry about mental health, is based on this whole wrong notions and beliefs. And this has been passed on to us without us ever questioning that. Unless that is broken down, we are not going to come out of this denial cycle. First thing that happens to us after confusion is denial. Oh, I think it's not there. Oh, it's because of that incident that happened. It'll go away. Deny it to myself. Coping it by ourselves. All that cycle that we go through is what we have to completely move out by making sure that we accept and acknowledge that knowledge is not what right that I have. I need to unlearn that and relearn and pick up a whole new paradigm of what mental health is.
Absolutely. I think denial is something that Keshav was also in when he also got to know that probably things are not going right. So Keshav, I would request you to just briefly tell us the story that you have had so that people get to know exactly what has happened to you. And let me tell you that we are hearing similar stories this time around as well. The placement is all over the place for a lot of these schools.
Yes.
It's a matter of a lot of money, time, effort, everything that you put in those 2 years. And then you look at a bleak future, and that puts in a lot of stress, right? So tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll get into how you dealt with it.
Sure. So I'll start with the backstory because, so that you guys will be able to, put yourself in my shoes. You will understand what exactly I was feeling, and a lot of students feel like. So getting IIM was a really, really big deal for me because I come from a really small town, and I'm from a average family. We are a middle class family, and when I cracked CAT, we were really happy. Yes, finally I am going to an IIM, and I was the first one actually from my family to actually even graduate completely. So understand the kind of happiness we were having that yes, I'm going to IIM, and the biggest concern obviously was the funds. So yes, like me, a lot of people, a lot of students take the loan. So loan jo hota, it is around 20 lakhs. So when you go to the IIM, the story is different for everyone, the experience is different for everyone, but for me, I have shown it in my videos as well. It was like completely, it was really great. I have shown how much I have learned. I have been learning a lot of things every single day, and I have been putting my efforts, putting my money. I have taken loan. So loan लेना आसान लगता है. When you take the loan, you know कि हाँ, back of the mind you have that stress कि तुम्हें IIM से निकलते ही तुम्हें वो लोन देना है. एंड वो लोन सिर्फ 20 लाख का नहीं है. यू विल हैव टू पे द इंटरेस्ट एज वेल. सो यस, यू वर्क हार्ड फॉर 2 years. तुम प्लेसमेंट्स में बैठते हो, एंड पीपल हियर नो कि द प्लेसमेंट प्रोसेस इज एक्चुअली वेरी डिफिकल्ट इन IIM. बहुत कंपटीशन रहता है. एंड देन यू फाइंड सर्टेन कंपनी की यस आई विल गो इन दैट कंपनी की the package is this much, I want this type of company, the work culture is this, so yes, expect some certain things from that. So the same happened with me. So I got placed luckily, and yeah, at that time I was really happy. And place hone ke baad bhi there were 4 or 5 months that I had to spend in IIM, and it went really well. So we were expecting that as soon as we like go out from IIM, we'll join the company. Okay, we were really happy, but the news came that our joining is getting delayed by 4 months. So obviously this was a news that we were not ready for, and we were not expecting this. And at that time we were like, चलो यार ठीक है, अभी ये होता है, दिस इज रियली नॉर्मल कि कंपनीज अपना डिले कर रही हैं बिकॉज अभी भी स्लो डाउन चल रहा है. तो पीपल वर लाइक कि चलो यार ठीक है, चलते हैं, इट्स रियली नॉर्मल. एंड द कंपनी जिसमें वी गॉट प्लेस्ड, लाइक उन्होंने ऐसा पहले कभी कुछ नहीं किया. दे हैड अ रियली गुड रिकॉर्ड. कुछ ऐसा बुरे रिव्यूज एंड कुछ नहीं था. सो या वी वर हैप्पी कि चलो कोई बात नहीं, हमें मिलेगा. एंड द जॉइनिंग वाज सपोज्ड टू बी ऑन 1st August. तो क्या होता है, what they did wrong was delaying was okay, but last 31st July तक we were said कि हाँ तुम्हारी ज्वाइनिंग 1st August को ही है. So there were 5-6 of us, हम नोएडा आ जाते हैं. अब there were a lot of people वो बोल रहे तुम नोएडा आई क्यों जब तक तुम्हें ऑफर लेटर नहीं आया. तो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम थी कि we didn't receive the offer letter. So till 31st July they said कि we'll send you the offer letter right now, just wait for 5 minutes 10 minutes. इस तरह करते करते वो 4 महीने निकले थे. तो 31st July तक उन्होंने ये बोला कि 1 अगस्त को तुम्हारी ज्वाइनिंग है. सो वी केम टू नोएडा, एंड हमने अपना एक बार रेंट कर लिया है, फ्लैट सब चीजें रेंट कर ली है. तो वी वर हियर, एंड 31st July को रात तक वी वर वेटिंग, बट ऑफर लेटर नहीं आता है. फिर 1 अगस्त हो जाता है, इस तरह एक वीक और जाता है. दे सेड वेट फॉर मोर 10 more days, विल टेक योर इंटरव्यूज अगेन. तो अंडरस्टैंड द स्ट्रेस. अब एक ऐसा स्टूडेंट है, जब IIM में होते हैं यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज, एंड प्लेसमेंट सीजन होता है. व्हेन कंपनीज कम, दे हैव दिस अरेंजमेंट्स की हाँ अब हमें एमटीज लेनी है, मैनेजमेंट ट्रेनिंग लेने हैं, हम 20 लेके जाएंगे, 30 लेके जाएंगे. तो दे हायर इन फॉर सर्टेन मंथ्स. उस टाइम पीरियड के बाद हमारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज कम हो जाती है, कंपटीशन बहुत बढ़ जाता है. तो अभी 4 महीने हो चुके हैं, एंड अराउंड 5 महीने हो चुके हैं, सॉरी. अभी वो बोल रहे हैं कि 10 दिन और वेट करो. हमने बोला ठीक है. दे टुक आवर इंटरव्यूज अगेन, वो भी एक बार नहीं, 2 बार नहीं, 3 बार. आई डोंट नो क्या चल रहा था, बट ठीक है जैसा भी था. एंड ऐसा करते करते अराउंड 25th of August हमें वो बोलते हैं कि लाइक टुमारो यू हैव टू ज्वाइन. तो वी वर रियली हैप्पी, बट उसी शाम को हमें मैसेज आता है कि हमारे ऑफर्स रिवोक कर दिए गए, वी आर लाइक दे नो मोर नीड अस. तो इट वाज रियली लाइक वी वर रियली शॉक्ड. एक्सपेक्टेड ही नहीं था ऐसा कुछ, बिकॉज सब लोग बोल रहे थे कि अगर किसी कंपनी को ऑफर रिवोक करना होता है तो वो इस तरह की चीजें नहीं करते हैं. दे जनरली टेल एट द स्टार्ट ओनली कि यार सॉरी वी कांट गिव यू द ऑफर, क्योंकि हमारे अभी ये कुछ सिनेरियोस चल रहे हैं, वॉट एवर द सीन इज. बट दे टेल एट द स्टार्ट, या फिर कहीं भी इन द मिडल. वो इतना टाइम इन्वेस्ट करवा के हमारे मनी इन्वेस्ट हुआ है, हम नोएडा में शिफ्ट हुए हैं. दिस इज द स्टार्ट ऑफ आवर कॉर्पोरेट करियर, जहाँ बहुत चीजें हमारी स्टार्ट होने वाली थी. बट एट द सडन दे सेड नो. एंड या उसके बाद लाइक हम सब वी वर लाइक रियली कंफ्यूज व्हाट टू डू नाउ. सबसे पहले तो हाउ वी आर गोना लुक फॉर द जॉब. सबसे पहले द थिंग इज एज यू सेड कि अभी बहुत स्लो डाउन चल रहा है, चाहे कोई भी IIM है, लिटरली कोई भी IIM, अहमदाबाद, बैंगलोर, उनमें भी कुछ ना कुछ सीन्स चल रहे हैं. वी सी द पोस्ट एवरी डे, हम स्टोरी सुन रहे हैं. तो अभी इस टाइम पे हम जॉब कैसे ढूंढेंगे? एंड द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज कि सब लोग ओपन अप भी नहीं हो सकते हैं इस टाइम पे. आई डिड, बिकॉज आई हैड सपोर्ट ऑफ लाइक माय ऑडियंस. मेरे पास बहुत से लोग थे, नेटवर्क थे, बट मेरे अलावा नो वन ओपन. उन्होंने अपना शेयर नहीं किया, बिकॉज इट इज रिस्की राइट, लिटिल बिट रिस्की। तुम कंपनी के बारे में ऐसे ओपनली बोल रहे हो, पहले मैंने भी नहीं बोला, बट बहुत लोगों ने बोला कि एटलीस्ट यू शुड टेल द नेम, तो मैंने उस कंपनी का नाम भी टैग किया, मैं अभी नाम नहीं लूंगा, बट आई टैग द कंपनी एज वेल। तो या उसके बाद काफी सीन्स हुए, कंपनी की साइड से भी कुछ रिवर्ट बैक आए हमें, बट द ओवरऑल सिनेरियो वाज सो मच लाइक इट वाज ओवरवेलमिंग, बहुत ही हमारे लिए नेगेटिव हो गया था, बिकॉज अभी लोन स्टार्ट हो गया। आई विल टेल यू, अभी हर मंथ 11,000 इंटरेस्ट बढ़ता जा रहा है, सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट पार्ट, एंड ईएमआई देना भी बहुत से लोगों ने शुरू नहीं किया है, ठीक है। तो वो पार्ट, उसके ऊपर से नोएडा आ गए हैं, तो वी हैव गिवन दिस 50-60,000 सिक्योरिटी, एंड उसका रेंट अलग से आ रहा है 10-15,000, तो ऊपर से जॉब ही नहीं है हाथ में, एंड वी रियली हैव नो आइडिया कि जॉब हमें मिलेगी कब, राइट? क्योंकि अगर अप्लाई करते हैं तो इट इज रियली पॉसिबल कि वो प्रोसेस मतलब 10 दिन, 15 दिन, 1-2 महीने भी चल सकता है। तो एट दैट टाइम वी वर रियली स्ट्रेस्ड, एंड so this was the whole scenario that happened at that time.
Okay, Keshav, thank you very much for sharing it once again and giving a perspective as to what has happened to you. Actually, हम बहुत सारे सपने लेके IIM जाते हैं, and then हमारा सपना होता है कि हम बहुत बड़ा कुछ करेंगे। सिर्फ हमारा सपना नहीं होता है, there is a lot of
Exactly.
that is pinned on you as well, right? Because आपकी society होती है, आपकी environment होती है, और देखते हैं यार आप IIM में जा रहे हो, irrespective of whichever IIM you're going to, right? So इस position में जब आप होते हो, आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ कंडीशन कैसी थी? क्या आपको समझ में आया कि किस तरीके के स्ट्रेसेस से होके आप गुजर रहे हो? क्या आपको समझ में आया कि प्रोबेबली जब आप इतने स्ट्रेस में नहीं होते हो, जिस तरीके से आप फंक्शन करते हो उससे कुछ अलग तरीके से आप फंक्शन कर रहे हो, क्या आपने उस टाइम पे हेल्प सीख करने की कोशिश की?
ओके, तो आई स्टार्ट विद कि एग्जैक्टली मैं कैसा फील कर रहा था, क्या क्या प्रेशर था मुझ पे। तो एज यू सेड कि सिर्फ ये हमारा सपना नहीं होता है, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, लॉट ऑफ पीपल इन्वॉल्व। सबसे पहले तो द मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट इज माय फैमिली, माय पेरेंट्स, मेरा भाई, एंड उसके बाद हमारी और फैमिली बढ़ती है, जो मेरे कजन्स हैं, मेरे अंकल आंट है, हमारी जॉइंट फैमिली है, राइट? इसके बाद एवरीवन दे नो कि यार केशव आईएम में गया है, द टाइम, अब जिस सिटी से मैं हूँ तो बहुत लोगों को पता है, तो दे एक्सपेक्ट समथिंग फ्रॉम मी, एज वेल एज मेरी भी एक्सपेक्टेशन है खुद से। उसके बाद मेरे ऊपर एडिशनल प्रेशर क्या है कि आई हैव दिस 20,000 फॉलोअर्स जो हमेशा सपोर्ट करते हैं, नो डाउट, बट दे एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम मी एज वेल, राइट? तो बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर ये भी था कि यार केशव तुम इतना टेंशन क्यों ले रहे हो, यू आर फ्रॉम IIM, बहुत इजीली जॉब मिल जाएगी तुम्हें, तुम लेनी ही नहीं चाहिए टेंशन। एंड एक और चीज कह रही थी, केशव तुम यूपीएससी कर लो। मैं भाई सोच रहा हूँ कि भाई मैंने कैट इतनी मुश्किल से किया, मैं आईएम तक पहुंचा हूँ, आईएम इतनी मुश्किल से किया, अब लोग बोल रहे हैं यूपीएससी कर लो तुम, और इतने इजीली बोल रहे हैं। आई वाज लाइक भाई कुछ भी, हाउ इज इट इवन पॉसिबल इस टाइम पे इतने स्ट्रेस में? तो या उस टाइम पे अब इतना कुछ था, एंड उसके बाद या फाइनेंशियली भी सब प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, ये प्रॉब्लम्स, एक्सपेक्टेशन, सब मेंटली। बट या अबाउट सीकिंग हेल्प, उस टाइम पे मैं इस चीज के बारे में सोच भी नहीं पाया एक्चुअली। सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम जब ऐसा कुछ भी होता है, या फिर किसी का ब्रेकअप भी होता है, कुछ भी ऐसी चीजें होती है, तो बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम है सब एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाते उस चीज को। तो 2-3 दिन 4 दिन मुझे वो लगे कि एक्सेप्ट करने में कि हाँ केशव तेरे साथ हुआ है, बिकॉज इससे पहले आई वाज थिंकिंग कि यार मेरे साथ कैसे होगा, मतलब बहुत रेयर है, कुछ 1-2% लोगों के साथ होता है, मेरे साथ ही क्यों होगा? तो इट्स हैपेंड विद मी, सो आई टुक माय 2-3 days। मैं ध्यान से सोचा कि व्हाट आई हैव टू डू नाउ, बट help, like I didn't think of it, I don't know why, but yeah, I planned it myself, I took my time, I planned out कि I have to do this, like फाइनेंशियली मुझे प्लान करना पड़ा, मुझे कंपनीज में अप्लाई कैसे करना है वो प्लान करना पड़ा, ओवरऑल मैंने प्लान किया। बट या उस टाइम पे काफी हो रहा था, आई वाज नॉट टॉकिंग टू अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल, इवन माय फैमिली भी, मैं उनसे बहुत कम बात कर रहा था। मैंने उनको बोला कि इस टाइम पे आई रियली डोंट नो मैं क्या बात करूं, उस टाइम पे समझ ही नहीं आता है, एंड बताने की कोशिश भी करो तो सब यही बोलते हैं एक्चुअली कि यार होता है, ठीक है तुम निकल जाओगे। तो मेरा पर्सनली वैसा हो गया कि आई नो इफ आई टॉक टू एनीवन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड्स या फैमिली, तो यही बोलते हैं कि ऑब्वियसली ऑब्वियसली हर यही बोलेंगे कि ठीक है यार तुम स्ट्रांग रहो, तुम निकल जाओगे। तो रियली डोंट टॉक अबाउट इट, मैं उसको पर्सनली सॉल्व करना ही अभी तक प्रेफर करता हूँ।
Right.
तो या
Okay, Keshav, I'll come back to you. Arushi, Manoj, you heard everything that Keshav had to say, and that's probably why I wanted him to be here, to give you a perspective or understanding of, and to our audience as well, as to, there are things that we say in theory, and then there are things that happens in practical life, right? Which stops a lot of people from seeking help as well. And we're talking about a job loss. There is an anxiety around exams as well. The cat is coming up, and I've spoken to so many people who have told me that because of their anxiety on the D day, they have missed out on the percentile that probably they have been achieving all throughout their mock sessions, right? And it's easy for somebody who have a lot of control over their anxiety to control it on the D day and perform well. But it's not for them who don't know how to do it. So, what would be your advice for people like this who think that probably, I don't know the route to it?
Arushi, why don't you go ahead and I'll come after that.
All right. Thank you, Lavaj. I'm going to share a secret with our entire audience today. And the secret really is being present, guys. Being present in the here and the now. सच्ची बोलूं, अगर वो conquer कर दिया ना, तो कुछ और conquer करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Because that is all we know about. Why do we get anxious? Let's go back to the core. Because like our mind, like we behave like pendulums. We're stuck between the past and the future, the past and the future. How will I fare? Will I finish these answers? Will I finish them in time? What will the future hold? What will the results be? Keshav, thank you so much for sharing your heartwarming journey. And I'm going to pray now my meditation. And I'm sure abundance will be yours because of your pursuit. This is something that we need to know. Number one, being in the present moment. How can you bring that into your life? Through breath work. Yes. Through therapy, understanding how present you need to be. Because if you're not present in the moment, you are going to get caught with your anxiety. You are going to get caught with your problems. They are going to still exist, but you're going to get engulfed into them. So number one, the secret really is staying present. Number two, I believe I'd like to share all this with our audience. Diligence over perfectionism. Stick to your pursuit. Be diligent in whatever you're doing. Do any of us know, did any of us plan the time that we were born into this world? Did you? Any of us? Anybody listening? Nahi na, to hame uska nahi pata tha na. So why do we need to know about every or anything else? Who are we to know? Why are we giving up? And why are we letting fear over faith? So faith over fear, my friends. If we don't know the timing we come, we do not know the timing of anything else. But we need to trust in the timing of the universe. Be present. Be here in the now. And I promise you, the simple things are the ones that help us most with our mental health. If we find ourselves amid uncertainty, number one, be present. Number two, still be diligent. Number three, seek the right kind of support. Like he said, मैंने सोचा ही नहीं, पर अभी हम सोच सकते हैं. What is that kind of support, right? Sometimes we. So why does jealousy come up? It is because we all have equated the idea of our self-worth with success.
Absolutely.
What is success? What is success?
So why does jealousy come up?
And why did we not?
It is because we all have equated the idea of our self-worth with success.
We didn't have to be the loudest person giving pitch. We didn't have to be the one receiving.
So why does jealousy come up?
And why did we not?
It is because we all have equated the idea of our self-worth with success.
We didn't have to be the loudest person giving pitch. We didn't have to be the one receiving.
So why does jealousy come up?
And why did we?
It is because we all have equated the idea of our self-worth with success. To be the loudest person giving pitch. We didn't have to be the one. So why does jealousy come up? And why did we? It is because we all have equated the idea of our self-worth with success. To be the loudest person giving pitch. We didn't have to be the one. So why does jealousy come up? And why did we? It is because we all have equated the idea of our self-worth with success.
In my opinion, and it tells you that you will be rewarded only when you top the class, or people will come and give you a hug because you have done something wonderful, including your parents. And that's something that probably needs a rethink for a lot of people as well. Very quickly, I'm going to jump to a lot of questions that we have received. Let's just take a detour and ask these, answer these questions. Aditya is asking, what if I got a good percentile in CAT, but because of my speaking abilities, I don't crack the interviews? Was that a concern? Was that a concern, Keshav, you had as well?
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Aditya is saying that what if I get a decent percentile, but in the interviews, I can't crack it because I don't have good communication skills or speaking skills or in English as an ability to convince people.
Okay. So about this, see, generally people here see English and let's say speaking skills and communication as the same thing. But what I feel is communication and English are really different, and you don't need really great English if you want to communicate well. For me, I really could not speak when I was giving interviews. I have learned this English throughout these 2 years only. So if you know what to speak, you will speak it out. It's fine यार क्या होता है कि when you are giving interviews as well, if you are speaking the right thing, तो तुम गलत इंग्लिश के साथ साथ हिंदी भी चलो बोलोगे तो चलेगा. बट तुम्हें पता ही नहीं है कि what you have to speak, then चीजें नहीं चलेंगी. तो वो work on what you want to say and what you have to say. इंग्लिश वाली चीज even the interviewer know यार ये 20 स्कूल में जाके सीख ही लेगा. तो इन दोनों चीजों को तुम एक चीज मत करो.
So great insight there, Keshav. Krishna is asking, he's a recent graduate, and one question that bothers is, will AI take his job? I think this is something that a lot of young individuals are thinking about. So anybody who wants to go ahead, answer this question.
So AI can only take your job if you let innovation end within you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
AI exists as a supportive tool. Let it not become the hero of anyone's or the heroine of anyone's story. The brain can never be replaced, right? Because it is a creation which is extremely natural. We can't even understand the creation of the brain. So, when it comes to AI, which is artificial intelligence, which we have created, don't let that take center stage. Learn it so that you can use it to support you, but don't make it like I said, don't let that overtake you, and it won't. Bring your individuality to everything you do, bring innovation to everything you do. The AI will best support you then and not take over you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would also like to add something. Yeah. Can I? Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah. हमने वो सब स्टोरी सुनी, एक बेसिक स्टोरी, राइट? पहले जब कंप्यूटर्स आने थे तो पीपल वर यूजिंग टाइपराइटर, तो दे वर लाइक वी वोंट स्विच टू कंप्यूटर्स, दे विल टेक आवर जॉब्स. बट व्हाट हैपेंड? न्यू जॉब्स आई, एंड व्हाट आई पर्सनली फील कि एआई विल क्रिएट एक्चुअली मोर जॉब्स. जॉब किनकी जाएगी? who will not learn the AI, who will not learn how to write this wave. So you will have to write this wave and learn how to use it. It's simple. And then I feel like you will be better in your career if you learn this and you write this wave.
Absolutely. Yeah. Radhika Bala is saying how to tackle the daily studies with parental restrictions. I'm not very sure what exactly Radhika's concern is, but anybody wants to go ahead? Is there a parental restriction on studies? I don't think so. They want you to study, right?
I don't understand. Okay. I didn't get it properly.
Okay, so let's move on to the next.
It's difficult to understand, but I think.
Yeah, go ahead. You were saying something, Manoj.
No, I was saying that perhaps Radhika was mentioning that with restrictions that are coming in from parents,
correct. Yeah,
a studies thing actually. So restrictions of other kind, I mean, it could be things like socializing or anything else. So it is a challenge because parents also need to be educated about what aspirations do you build and communicate to the child, and you don't really straitjacket the kind of notions you have about your child's future and all. So that is important about it. But at some point in time, I think what I've also seen the youth, particularly today, to be very clear about communicating to the parents about what their needs are, what their aspirations are, which is a very good thing. Because there's so much choice, there is so much that they can pick up from and decide to do. So I think it's also about, on one side, parents being educated about how do they really put those restrictions and what do they mean by the restrictions and all, and how can it adversely affect what your child wants to do, and on the other hand, children really communicating about how they are looking at their own future actually.
Right. Roshit is asking, is it a good option to resign from your company if the pay that you're getting is not attractive and also you're significantly learning anything in the job that you are doing? I think there is a not missing. Also, you're not significantly learning anything in the job that you're doing. What would be your advice on that? Yes, Arushi.
So if it is only going to be for money and pay, then you are not giving enough attention to nurturing of knowledge in the opportunity. There are a lot of things your job should make you feel. Number one, it should make you feel safe. It should have a healthy environment. It should motivate you. These are the things we need to start seeking, because we are so laced by instant gratification. You see that 20% jump, and in your 1 year, you take that next jump and next jump and next jump and next jump. What are you teaching to the quality of your life? You want to be a jumper? Is money all you want to see? And if that is your goal, then that becomes your trajectory. Understand what is important for you. What do you value more? Coming to your question straight away, if you also feel you're not learning anything, are you not creating enough opportunity for you where you are? Because a human being in a system can create opportunity for themselves. Or are you disinterested in what is going on? If it is not of your interest, if you're not learning enough, and if you're not happy with the pay scale, then I think the answer is clear. But if any of the other things have provoked a thought in you, which I have just spoken about, then maybe you need to consider what makes you feel valued in a job and then seek your opportunities.
Absolutely. Prince is asking something that we discussed some time back about comparison. He's saying how to handle the stress during placements and stress of not going to any good or big companies when comparing to your peers, and how to handle it in a healthy way. Because what happens. I'll give you some context, Manoj, Arushi as well. If you're not aware of the entire ecosystem, like there are students killed in these schools who compete for those 10, 50 top jobs that come on campus, who promise you to give the best possible life by the amount of money that they throw at you. They don't tell you upfront as to what that life is going to be, but you are supposed to fight for those jobs because that's supposedly the the golden spoon that they are offering you. So what happens is the kind of bonds that you build for the 2 years gets crushed because you want to be on those 20 jobs that the campus is offering or the companies are offering. So in a situation like this, what should be an approach of the student?
Yeah. So can I take this question?
Sure, sure.
So yeah. So see, the environment in these placements is really competitive, and a lot of students are really stressed about it. कि यार उसको अच्छी मिल रही है या मुझे नहीं मिली. And the main thing is कि placements in B schools is actually sometimes is about luck only. कभी कभी क्या होता है कि your day is not good and maybe तुम्हारा इंटरव्यू अच्छा नहीं जाता, maybe तुम्हारा कुछ टेस्ट अच्छा नहीं जाता. तो इन सब चीजों को प्रिवेंट करने के लिए सबसे पहले तो we need to educate ourselves. We should talk to our senior, we should talk to other people, and we should make our own criteria कि I want this type of job. And like you should set your own parameters कि यार मैं इतने से इतना पैकेज का अपना सोच रहा हूँ, realistic figures like compare करके what my profile is, and set a set different parameters कि यार this type of company I'm looking for. And regardless उसके बारे में others like लोग अगर तुम्हारे दोस्त क्या बोलते हैं, you should keep on applying for it. It is fine if you're looking for good work culture, then it is fine to go for a lower package. It is completely fine. Pressure आता है, I know, लोगों से pressure आता है, but trust me, good work culture versus good package, so work culture it would be more better for you because you will be able to grow more, as well as you will be able to work on other things as well. तो तुम्हें खुद के पैरामीटर सेट करने हैं. डोंट कंपेयर योरसेल्फ विद अदर्स, स्पेशली बहुत ज्यादा मैटर करता है. एंड द मेन थिंग इज कि लाइक दूसरों के पीछे किसी भी कंपनी में अप्लाई मत करो, बिकॉज इफ यू गेट इनटू द रॉन्ग कंपनी तब तुम्हें चीजें बहुत ज्यादा हैम्पर होंगी. तुम बाद में बहुत यू विल बी रिग्रेटिंग इट कि यार नहीं करना चाहिए था. तो गलत कंपनी में जाना इज द राइट कि हाँ मुझे वो नहीं करना है.
Right. Anita has written a question. I think she has just typed in this question some time back. She's saying that she's very anxious due to continuous change in her workplace. She's preparing for CAT and is 26 years old, and she feels like she's already behind in life. Uh, Society pressure that the society puts on her as a female is impacting her mental health as well. What should she be doing at this point? Thank you very much, Anita, for putting your vulnerable side out. We usually think that we are late in life because we compare again ourselves to idols that probably we have set in front of us. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert. I would like either Manoj or Arushi to.
Yeah. So to give you again a general answer to it for Anita. And Anita, again, like Paul said, thank you so much. And I'm sure many of us will relate to that challenge that you're going through. You know, to start with, look, one is, of course, this whole element about seeking services, but acknowledging that you are going through stress and acknowledging that you don't want this to be the phase or this the way kind of life that you would want to lead itself is a big starting point win. Know that many of us haven't even reached that stage where we acknowledge and accept that this is what I'm going through and I need to bring in a course correction to my life. So yourself and say that this is very good.
Manoj, sorry, can we?
First point that as this whole stress that I'm going through, I can handle by myself. If you're not, Paul, you saying something?
Yeah, so your voice was breaking in between.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it seems okay now. Can you just repeat that last bit that you?
Yeah. So I was saying that, we will, so the whole idea of reaching out to professional is not that I have an illness and I need a treatment for it. I think that whole notion also needs to be removed from our mind. The whole idea of mental well-being is also about taking someone's help to build a better perspective to the situation that I'm in. Because I have a certain perspective that if I don't get a 1 crore job, then my life is gone. And that's my first job, imagine. And I have 30 years more in my career. So that's the perspective I have. And somebody can help me. There is a professional who's trained who can help me understand that that's not what I should carry as a perspective to the situation that I'm in. Is what, Anita, you should probably look at. And that for that, we will need professionals like Arushi to help us with.
Correct. Yeah. Arushi, you were saying something? Okay. Ajay, I want you to say something because I want you to talk about emotional well-being that you say mental well-being would be. What exactly is emotional well-being at a day and age that we are living in right now? And how do you think the digital world has either helped or made things worse for our emotional well-being?
So I feel like the word mental always for decades, generations, years has come with a negative connotation to it. That's why mental health has been seen something outside of us, separate from us. But physical health, because it was visible, we really accepted it as a part of us. The only reason for using the word emotional well-being is so that people don't feel as threatened with the previous associations we have made towards mental health. The only one thing which is universal, devoid of caste, creed, geography, is mental health. All 8 billion of us have a mind, so we all have mental health. Is our mental health, it comes on a paradigm, it's a spectrum. Is it healthy? Or is it moving towards tipping and becoming an illness? This is the emotional well-being even Manoj was talking about. How healthy are your emotions? How guided are you about them? How much do you know about yourself? How can we want to win at life if we don't know about the person who's going through life? That is the real question. Even
Right.
Anita, answering your question, if you don't know more about you, your own thoughts, what do you really value? How will you win at life? So, emotional well being is a state of caring for your emotional health, the health of your thoughts, which impact how you're feeling, and your feelings, which impact your actions. Yes? Now, coming to the digital world, a boon or a curse. So, number one, the digital world has opened up access that we could never think about. Over 60,000 of us have access today to this wonderful conversation, which was not possible earlier. So, awareness reaching people was not as easy as it has become. Finding places, learning knowledge, developing, you know, accelerating social networks is all a boon that social media and digital has brought in. But the flip side, unfortunately, comes of everything. And what has the flip side been? Unrealistic standards of everything: life, jobs, expectations. We are growing into a world which is learning that, hey, if I am at these many retreats, I have become successful. If I have these many likes on my reel, I am worthy. So, unrealistic expectations have unfortunately built an increased anxiety, fear, and a lot of confusion in our current generation, which is why they are letting themselves be consumed by the digital world. It definitely has increased our isolation. By thinking we are more connected, we're actually becoming isolated. Do we know that? We're going away from, we're going out of touch with reality into touch with an alter reality. So, everybody watching this here, while you think it is forwarding you, choose how much you want to be influenced by it. We don't even know till now the impact of the impact on our body, hormones, waves, just digital, just being around digital equipment is having to us. I'm going to throw in a quick stat. The other day, I was reading something on testicular cancer and the amount it has increased in men just by putting the laptop on their lap in the last 10 years. Now, if that is not scary digitally, imagine what else is it doing to your mental health, to your physical health. So please know how to use whatever in your life responsibility. Moderation is really the key to winning. Choose your moderate.
I saw Keshav nodding his head, probably realizing what he also goes through, and very interestingly mentioned that the 20,000 followers that he had added a certain pressure to him, right? And that's the reality of a lot of creators today as well. And this is the generation that we're talking about. They're not just working in an organization; they're creating a hustle for themselves as well, which is adding up with a lot of pressure that they carry, right? It's not just the society that they are answerable to now, they're answerable to the community that they have built for themselves. And that's the flip side that we all might have to look at as well. Keshav, I'll come back to you. Right now, what is happening in your life? How you're dealing with this entire situation? Where are you currently in terms of getting a job, getting back on track with your life? Because there is an entire life ahead of you. And what are the kind of learnings that you're taking back from this particular session?
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't told this on my YouTube as well. So I'm telling you, I have got a job finally, and it's actually really better than the previous one. Everything is better, everything, and I'll tell the details later maybe. But yeah, everything is going good now, and I'm in Noida only. Right now, I'm at my friend's place. I'm shifting to a new flat soon. So yeah, everything is like great now, and like there are like few things that I've learned now as well, and during my journey as well. Like firstly, we are talking about numbers, we are talking about people as well. So there are a lot of things that are just in our head. We are thinking ki what my subscribers will be thinking. So actually ऐसा नहीं है. What the real scenario is, when I opened up, so I was scared कि यार लोग क्या बोलेंगे, and they were like एक बोलेंगे कि भाई IIM करने का फायदा नहीं है, या फिर केशव यू आर अ फेलियर, ऐसे these things are in my head. But when I opened up actually on social media या फिर in life as well, so people actually came forward, they were actually concerned. तो इससे क्या हुआ, नॉट ओनली दे वर लाइक गुड टू मी, दे हेल्प मी इमोशनली या सब चीजें, बट दे वर सेंडिंग मी द ऑफर्स एज वेल, दे वर सेंडिंग मी द अपॉर्चुनिटीज. So when I opened up, if I could not have opened up, I was the only one who was going to search for opportunities. Yeah, right. And बहुत मुश्किल होता. But when I opened up, there were thousands of people. More than 1 lakh people watched that video. So out of that, 20, 30, 40 people came out. उन्होंने मेरी help की. There were a lot of creators, YouTube creators as well, who helped me. So the job I have got, that is from my connections only. One of my friends sent it. I didn't get it directly. So this is the thing I have learned कि I should open up rather than thinking कि यार लोग क्या सोचेंगे. तो it is a lot of time it is कि हाँ यार सिर्फ हमारे दिमाग में ही है. And from this session I have learned कि यार जब मुझे लग रहा है कि I don't know whom I should talk to, या फिर I am at a certain point यार समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है क्या करूँ, या फिर I think कि I am getting affected too much because of this stress, this mental, maybe I'm facing some mental pressure, then I should maybe talk to someone, maybe some expert as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Keshav, and congratulations for the new job. I hope that the flat plans are still there. I hope that the experience that you have had helps a lot of people who probably are going through or will go through a similar kind of a situation. And if something like this happens, I think a concept that Manoj very passionately talks about also comes into the picture. And I'm talking about allyship, Manoj. Let's talk about that a little bit. It's an example of allyship in itself that he got from his community. So how do you see that in a workplace? How do you see that in the digital ecosystem that we are living in as well?
Thank you, Paul, for bringing this up. And this is the most important element in how we would want to reshape or build a new shape for mental health care. I want to take up this whole power balance of mental health care thing. Typically, when I do a session, I ask people about who do you think is the most important stakeholder in mental health care. And with all the discussion, they will finally say that the person with the problem is the most important person, because without that person, nothing needs to exist. Then I shift the question to ask them that who do you think is the most powerful stakeholder in this whole ecosystem? So they would have given me media, government, neighbors, and other stakeholders. Then I ask them, who's the most powerful stakeholder? And then they will tell us media and the government is more powerful and all those things. But at the end of the day, the most powerful stakeholder in mental health care system is the bystander. Because every decision that I make of my problems around mental health depends on the view my neighbor, my family member, my co-worker, my bystander carries, and the attitude they carry about me and the problem that I'm going through. So look at the power that person wields in the decision I make of my problem. So therefore, allies or mental health allyship in social environments, particularly at workplace, which is such a beautiful place for us to bring in that shift that we're desiring in mental health care, becomes most important. And what do we need to become an ally? There are two ingredients that we require from what I have understood. Empathy is the first thing. So just as a co-worker walks into office with a broken arm, I, as a co-worker for that person, will say that sit here, I'll get you your coffee. It doesn't take much for me to think about the fact that I need to be a caregiver for that person for that moment. It happens naturally. But if that same person is going to tell me that, Manoj, I am not at my best behavior today or emotions today, I'm not going to go to him. I have the empathy. Suddenly that empathy is vanished because that whole layer of knowledge is not there. It's only when you have empathy and knowledge, and what I now have begun to understand, it is more a skill than a knowledge. Skill and empathy need to come together for me to be an ally to that person who needs help for their emotional vulnerability at that moment. And that becomes the most important thing. And we need to create a lot more allies in our social ecosystem at workplaces. We need more and more people to come forward to say that I know I have empathy. I'm going to pick up the right skills so that I'm available for that person. And I become the critical bridge for that person between their current dispensation and they're reaching out to a mental health professional. That's the bridge we have to create.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Manoj, on that. And I think we're far behind when we talk about creating this space because we go into the daily pursuit of chasing numbers, goals, targets, KRAs, and then we forget the most important human aspect, which is being empathetic to the other person that you're working with. And I think that's something that I want to, you know, kind of percolate within my team, and I've seen that giving me immense results in the pursuit that I have had. And I think that's the best way of going forward. If you are a leader of a team, if you're working with them, if you're just part of a wheel, whatever it is, nothing is giving you more result or going to give you more result than being a little empathetic and listening to people. I hope that listening to us today was helpful for people who have tuned in this particular conversation. Before I draw close to this particular webinar, one last piece of advice from all of you, and I'll start with you, Manoj, and I'll end with you, Keshav, who probably are getting into their desired preschools, their desired education institutes, their desired jobs, or the desired or the ever dreamed of roles within their companies that they are working in. What is your advice with respect to their own mental health and keeping themselves sane in the entire process?
Sure, Paul. Thank you. So to begin with, I think it's important that we understand that we may have every resource required for me to lead a good quality of life. But that last mile connectivity that we see in telecom, or that last ability that we require, is about mental well-being. We may have Rohit Sharma at 99, and he's reached 99 score because of his skills and talent and experience. But for him to go from 99 to 100 requires mental well-being. And that we have to understand every moment. It's not something that I look at in the context of my career or some 20 years thing. It's my current moment. Am I talking to you in the most effective way? If I'm doing it, it's because I've been able to take care of my mental well-being at this moment. So it's the most important catalyst in our life to help us, which will help us lead our life to its full potential. We have the potential. We all have our potential to lead our life to its fullest possible way. But mental well-being becomes the most important thing. Don't compromise. Don't compromise for salaries or anything else that you would want to. The world has told us that what should be our benchmark in success or happiness and all. This is the most important message.
Brilliant. Brilliant, Manoj. Arushi?
What if it's better than you've imagined? The power really lies within you. Do you have the power to give yourself the trust and make your life a creation of your mind? The strength and the answer both lie within. And I assure you, if you seek the right guidance, you will create a world better than you imagined. Yes. I'm so happy that happened with you also, Keshav. And I can share with all of y'all, you need to really believe. And that is the first step in making sure it outturns into your reality. So that's something I want to leave everybody with. Nothing is too big. Nothing is too small. If you have dreamt it, it will exist. Today, where Manoj and I am sitting, these weren't chairs that even existed 10 years back. We've had to put up a fight against an ecosystem where mental health was not recognized, right? But it is possible if you believe so. We had to wake up in our life is a journey. Our story is only resilience. So I assure everybody it can be better than you've imagined. Show up for yourself and do that inner work. That is the only thing that will get you there.
So, Keshav, last few words. यार मुझे पता है आप बहुत बातें करते हो अपने चैनल में, and I want you to really connect with our audience as well, because a lot of people probably are in your shoes right now within our community.
Definitely.
What do you want to leave them with?
Yeah, so especially for the students who are like about to go in B schools, who are in the B schools, or maybe you are going to sit in the placement, I have like 2-3 pointers for you that I think like every student should follow. First is, please don't compare yourself with others. Please don't. अगर तुम करोगे, then it is really going to affect you a lot. तुम उनके like there can be like big differences दो लोगों में, दो roommates में. So don't compare with anyone. तुम्हें चाहे लग रहा है कि प्रोफाइल सेम है तो उसके बाद भी. The second is, set your own realistic parameters and realistic expectations. Talk to your seniors, talk to people so that you know the real picture. Because a lot of time हमारी सोसाइटी की वजह से हम खुद बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेक्टेशंस लेके रखते हैं एंड वो नहीं पूरी होती हैं. So take a realistic idea and then set your own realistic parameters. And the third is here, the environment in B schools is really competitive. You also know, and fight होता है literally, cutthroat competition होता है. At that time, बहुत सारे B schools में भी है. There are actually experts. There are professionals, mental health professionals you can talk to. I tried as well at that time, but I could not connect to them at that time. But so I would highly recommend you, especially when you're in the B school, you should talk to them. It will actually help you. And I could not do it sadly, but I would recommend you. So yeah.
Super. Thank you very much for the honesty there, Keshav. I think you guys have been very honest about the entire audio. Thank you very much, Arushi and Manoj, for giving us your time from your schedules. It was wonderful talking to you. I personally am a very vocal supporter of how important it is to understand what is happening within you. My partner actually suffers from clinical depression, and I have seen it firsthand. And I know the importance of, first acknowledging it, and secondly, accepting it. I think that's something that will give you the key to lead a life that probably is going to be better for everybody around you and for yourself as well. And the kind of stressors or the kind of environment that we live in the constant uh, world of information that we live in, it's very difficult for us to step back and think and realize the kind of things that we probably are doing wrong to ourselves, or the damages that we are doing to ourselves or our minds. And it's only reflection through which we can actually help ourselves. And today's webinar was one such intent for you to actually reflect on the things that are important. Again, as I mentioned, I am not an expert. I have not taken therapy yet in my life, though I intend to, very soon. And I hope that these very people who have given the piece of their minds today has helped the community in one way or the other. Thank you, all of you, Manoj, Keshav, Arushi. It was nice talking to you, and have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for.
Thank you so much.
Take care and
Bye-bye.
remember to ask
Bye-bye.
yourself how you're feeling.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.